Hello and good evening once again, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another social production. We're doing it on February the 24th, 2023. It is a Friday, which means what? That's right. Saturday Junior, or Friday's basically weekend Junior, essentially. We're getting into it, baby. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, wherever you're tuning in from, whether you're here in Canada, if you're down south in the US, further down south in Mexico, South America, as per usual, Africa, Europe, Asia, New Zealand, Australia, Papua New Guinea, the islands, Indonesia. These are the ones that just stick out. Continents and a few places here and there, you know what I mean? But it's so many. There's so many countries to name: Belarus, Serbia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, Romania. Shout out to my Romanians. Who else? To my Itais in Italy. To my specific, if you want to go to UK, if you're in Ireland, if you're in Scotland, if you're in Northern Ireland, and if you're in Southern Ireland, you know what it is? That's what it is, baby. All around the world, wherever you are, I hope you're doing well, wherever you're tuning in from. If it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. We get down and dirty. We have a little tussle here, sometimes with ideas, with each other. It's kind of like playing mud wrestling, except the mud is jello, so you'll be tempted to lick the mud jello, which is basically chocolate pudding. Resembles mud, but you'll lick it off thinking, oh, it's just fun and games. Because if it was dirt, you wouldn't lick off dirt. If it was mud, you'd just be mud wrestling. But if it's a little bit sweet, you get a little bit blood, sweat, and tears on your lips. Alongside of that chocolate pudding, you do a little swipey poo with the old tongue. Give it the old roundabout, clean around your mouth. All of a sudden, it tastes yummy. It tastes like chocolate, and then you're eating chocolate, but you're not just eating chocolate. Your opponent's blood, sweat, and tears are also mixed within it, so you might pick something up, or you might end up boosting that immune system. You know what? This is something we should have more. I've said it before. We should have more chocolate pudding mud fights, wrestling, not even fights. Just people in a bar with a makeshift boxing ring. Or square, I don't know why it's called a boxing ring, but put some chocolate pudding in that bad boy. Next thing you know, what? We're having a bunch of fun. Bunch of loose ladies and gents having fun on a Friday morning or evening, depending on wherever you are. We're global, essentially, so thank you for joining me. If you've been with me for some time now, you know what it is, sending all the love and support right back to you. But let's just have some fun. It is Friday. I'm feeling grand, feeling good. It's sunny outside, even though we've had a ton of snow here in Toronto. We've had I read somewhere an estimate of 17 centimeters, which is, they say it's not about the size of this, but it sometimes is, because that's a lot of snow. You know what I mean? Mother Nature just decided to be a bad gal, queef right out that punani. Next thing you know, what is it? What it is that it's a lot of snow. So, if you're out there, have some fun. Also, the only thing that I'm like, I'm fine with snow, but the only thing is, like, it had all melted. We even got rid of, like, sometimes you'll have, dirty snow that'll pile up on the side of the streets and snowbanks. But even that had melted because we had a few sunny days in the past week or so, and then it all melted. But then as soon as you could see a little bit of grass, just a little bit of, that's Mother Nature. She's like, you want this spring? You want this spring? Yeah, who wants this spring? Showing us a little bit of spring, and then boom, snow all over it again. So thank you to Mother Nature. That's what it is. So enjoying the last stretches of winter here in Canada, I'll tell you that much. Keeping warm with a cup of coffee, with a cup of Joe right here, with a cup of the old squeezed beans, grinded beans, whatevs. Dude loves the coffee. I hope you guys and gals are also keeping warm wherever you are, inside your hearts, inside your hearts, inside your spirits, inside your, inside your mind, inside your body. I hope you're keeping warm and dandy, because you never know, man. You never know. Times are changing. Times are changing. You might end up, you might be in the midst of keeping warm, just going about your day. You might be in, and all of a sudden you catch yourself getting involved in a relation of sorts, and then you start dating, and then who knows, you might even fall head over heels. I've seen men and women fall head over heels. Hilarious, especially if they're like, if they're prone to slips and falls. A little bit funny, not gonna lie. It's like, as long as nobody gets hurt, it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. But nonetheless, man, men and women do fall head over heels in love, and then that's the thing. Next thing you know, everything, you're like you're in a relation of sorts. You're banging out sets, you're putting in the time, and then boom, one day you're like, let's try to get pregnant. Let's you and I, sweetheart, let's try to get pregnant, and you're just plowing away, just unloading loads from your, beaver eater, from your, from your joystick, from that, and then nothing's happening, and then you wonder why. Dude, she might be. What if you end up, marrying a trans woman who's trans, but she didn't tell you, and boom, next thing you know, you're online, you're like, man, I feel like all my life I've been working out, I've been eating the green juice. Sometimes you're tipping over cows just to have a little bit of that grass, that, because you're like from farm to table, more like from land to mouth, straight up, cut the middle, man. You're just like, I'm gonna get all the greens, I'm gonna get, there's a little pig inside the barn that you happen to have, and he's got a little pork belly, and you're just gnawing on that pork belly straight up, uncooked, raw, and then you work out, and you're like, man, but I thought my T levels are fine. I thought, like, you're working out, you're exercising, how could this be? You're unload load after load, you're just like busting load after load. It's like, it's crazy, it's, whoa. But nothing, nada. And I'm just saying that could happen. What do you do? And then you're like, she still doesn't tell you. So you're like, maybe I should get, because you don't want to be like, it's you, you know what I mean? Until, it's not that, it's like, and you're like deeply in love too. You're deeply in love. And now you're like, I gotta go check my T levels, because my partner, my wife, soon to be wife, or already we got married 3 years ago, you might say, and you're like, things are going well at work. I feel like unloading without condoms. You know what I mean? Just like fucking getting in there. And yeah, so it's knee deep in a relationship. You're making appointments at the local doctor's facilities. Now you're, they're guiding you. They're like, step into this office, please, have a seat, fill out a form. Now you're out there filling out forms, son. A lady, mid-40s, not too bad, you know what I mean? She comes up, gives you a little cup. Sir, we're gonna ask you to fill this up. You're like, all of it? They're like, as much as you can, do your best, no pressure. How do you gauge it? What have other men gone up to in terms of filling up the cup? You don't want to walk out there with like the bare min. You know what I mean? You always want to be somewhere, are some men going in there and be like, halfway through, are they be like, I'm gonna need extra cups? Is there, because I'm always afraid, because I sometimes, just visually speaking, of course, looks at my loads, and I'm like, man, if I were to have to like fill up a cup, I'd be here for like, give me some time. I'll do it, you know what I mean? Challenge accepted, I'll do it, but like, give me some time. It won't be just like, it won't be a one sesh fill a cup. Multiple sessions, maybe. Not promising anything. There won't be like, but that's just me. But that's just you, essentially. You're now making appointments, maybe asking for a second cup. Or maybe you're asking for a, why go with such large cups? You know what I mean? You're like, it's easy. You want it to be a decent sized cup so that it's easy to maneuver, put it here in a cabinet, take it home, look at it, do some work, whatevs, whatever the peoples do. Sperm scientists, those ladies and gents who are fascinated by the sticky, icky, gooey, gooey, put it under a microscope. They check out your sperms, dude. Your sperms are eating raw grass, nibbling on raw pork bellies. Your sperm are doing that. They're benching. They're getting ready. They're like, we're ready to go, Jack. We're ready to go. It's like a little prison there. It's like a little prison cell, but everybody's like friends and they're just like working out, but ready to go. And they've heard of this mysterious egg, this final destination, Egg City, to make the escape. So these sperms are just like, so the doctor comes back or a nurse comes back, is like, sir, we examined your sperm count is through the roof. If you had any more sperm, it'd be a crime against humanity. We'd have to lock you up. You have extremely high levels of swimmers, free divers, synchronized swimmers. Some of them are like swimming together in synchronicity, which is beautiful. You never see that in regular sperm, but your sperm, sir, does backflips. And that's what. So what do you do now? You're like, oh man, I checked out on my side. Look, you didn't even tell your sweetheart because you're like, you know what? We're just still trying. It's in the beginning. It's in the mid stages. It's in the early stages of trying to get her pregnant. So you go home, you're like, all right, sweetie, it's not, and then how do you break it to her though? You're like, nonchalant, I was just, how was your day, sweetheart? She'll ask, or you'll ask about her day. Ask about her day. Go ahead, ask her about her day. Great day, she had a great day. Reversed is it, now how was your day? What did you do today, sweetheart? Yeah, well, it's regular day at the office, went to the office, closed a few deals, opened a few deals, opened and closed deals essentially. Looked at targets, looked at goals, sent some emails, received some emails, made some phone calls, got some phone calls, answered to some texts, waiting for some texts to be answered, walked up and down the stairs, leaned on the water cooler for about 2.5 minutes. Reg day, no big deal. And then, after work, I was just like, man, I feel like just maybe grabbing a cold one before I felt like grabbing a cold one on my way home, or I'm like, let's just mix it up. Let's just mix it up and stuff. Forget the cold brew after work. Let me just go to the old local sperm facility just to see, just to see where I'm at. Just to see where I'm at, because we're trying and all that, sweetheart, baby boo. I just want to see if my levels are, I want to see if my boys are, I want to see if I can be working out and eating raw grass right off the asshole of a cow. Just fucking, from, cut the middleman, all of that. I do that because I want to, and that's what it is. So that's why I just check the levels of the old testosterone, and then she's asking you. She said, well, how did it go? And you tell her about the fact that you have to be arrested if your sperm levels were to be any higher, because it'd be a crime against humanity with your high sperm level. So you lay it on the table. You're like, yeah, so just letting baby, these sperms, these swimmers. I got the Michael Phelps of sperm, son. What you know about that dunk? You know what I mean? And one, and two, and three. Little double dribble there. What? So you're just like, and then like she's still not, and you're trying, and years go by, you're trying, and you're like, and do you, how would you bring it up? Should you be like, maybe, hey, sweetheart, should we get your eggs counted? Just to like, how many eggs do ladies release on a monthly basis? Oh, they say one, maybe two, one, two, check 1, 2, just check it out. Maybe you're overproducing eggs. Maybe we're missing. Maybe the sperm is having a difficult. Maybe my swimmers are having a difficult time finding your eggs because you're out here. Maybe you're just like with your feminine beauty. You're producing multiple eggs, and the sperm are like, well, we only because in the inside, when you're like a sperm in a prison cell of sperms, it's all stories. You have no idea what's out there. You've heard of an egg, one egg. Nobody ever told you about multiple eggs. I just want to make sure, you know what I mean? Just to make sure that like we're not confusing, they're good boy, they're working out and all that, but they're still sperm. They're not like, relatively dumb, I'd say. It's still a good swimmers, but like, if they see multiple eggs, maybe a little bit of confusion. And she's like, no, you don't need to worry about multiple eggs, whilst knowing what? No eggs at all, son. No eggs at all. So how do you deal with that? Um, you know, I don't know. I don't know what that is. If that is your life, that's, how did you deal with it? Did you end up getting married to somebody who had transed and not told you? Are you sucking on labias that were reconstructed from a peen? I'm just curious. I've never, yeah. When it comes to porn, I'm just like, I'll check out my reg porn. Thank you very much. Hairy pussy, this guy right here. Harry, that's, nothing exuberant or, I just like a little, we've been here before, we've talked, but like, I've never like, just out of curiosity, like, how does it look? You know what I mean? Like, how does it look? How would that even, oh God, I feel like it's, I'm not saying like, this is not like, it just looks painful is all. The whole procedure to me sounds very painful. That's the knee-jerk reaction. If I were to be like, oh man, oh God, that sounds painful, but so I don't know, but I'm just saying, has that ever happened to anybody? You know what I mean? Has that ever, is that a thing? Could that be a thing more so in the future? You know what I mean? It's like, how do you know? How do you know what's up? I'm just saying, boys and girls, ladies and gents, it's Friday. It's Friday again, and here we are, man. Here we are, ladies and gents. I guess, a little bit of a correlation between talking about sperms kind of being in like a prison and working out like in a cell. How do you like, ever watch a series or a movie that was, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or a wonderful series called Oz, or other prison movies like prison series like Prison Break. I believe that's also about a prison and taking breaks. Just like, yeah, I've not watched it. I watched like a few minutes here and there, like way back when it was like but like I think it's about, from what I grasped from the title, it's about prisons. And it's about just like relaxing a little bit, like giving yourself a break. You know what I mean? Like a little, let's take a little prison break. Take 5, everybody. Prison break. I think that's like lingo for like, I don't know what it is, but I think it's like uber chill people. You know what I mean? Let's just, prison break, everybody. Prison break. 15. Let's just take 15 prison break. Everybody just cool it off. Prison break. Or maybe it's about, I don't know. It might be about that, or it might be about like getting rid, like breaking the prison industrial complex. Like, prison break. We're gonna break the prison system. But then you do need some sort of a like deterrent for people like not do horrendous things. So like maybe not, like if it's about that, I'd be like 1-2 episodes. I don't know how you could milk that for a whole series, but I don't even know if maybe that's not even what it's about. But maybe, I'm just saying, maybe you watch prison movies or series, or I've read maybe you've had experiences and you're like, and no judgy here, dude. I've had I personally, I've never experienced prison, but you hear things, you might even see things, you hear and see things, and you might read things. Regardless, you're like, man, I wonder. Yeah, and did you ever watch that movies or series and heard the story and you're like, man, I wonder what it'd be like. I want to live this. I want to live this, fam. If only there was a way to make reg society become like a prison, like a small little prison, like a 15-minute city, sort of. If that could be a thing, just a 15-minute city with like. But how do you make a city? How do you make sure that a city turns into a prison so that every, you could easily be like, you know what, let's in an effort to reduce CO2 level, which by the way, we've made efforts. In an effort to lower CO2 levels, people are going to need to start breathing less. Are you out there just breathing? Are you a deep breather? Cut it out right now, immediately. We're trying to cut, and you're being selfish out. You're just breathing in this reg oxygen, just giving it back in not so much of an oxygen form, which is like, what are you doing? Adding to the CO2. So we've asked people to cut back on breathing. or just like go and take in smaller, shorter breaths and less frequent too, if you will. Yes. Have we had people that are reporting anxiety, trouble breathing, experiencing panic attacks, finding themselves being short of breath, experiencing low to mid level strokes, low to mid level heart attacks? Have there been cases of people just dropping out? Yes, but we are doing our best, and so should you. So, if you could just stop breathing, you know what I mean? Like, do it in like, because everybody's just like all willy nilly with their breathing, just like, you're not even thinking about it out there breathing, contributing to CO2s and all that stuff. So, having said that, that's already been implemented, but to further go ahead and reduce the CO2s. That's what it is. I looked at all the models. I'm like, man, what's the best model so that like people could be like, how do we make people into like, how do we sell the concept of a zoo? Do you like zoo animals being caged up and stuff and like being only limited to a certain amount of space that they can like move around to and like get things from, and like, limited act, but like lower CO2s, fam. But like also we're like, how do we apply that to humans? 15-minute cities. 15-minute cities, we came up with this idea, and it's, yeah, is it limiting? Absolutely. Who's it for? Everybody. It could be for everybody, like not the super rich and elite. You know what I'm talking about? Like, not if you're like super, super rich and like financially elite, it's not for you. Just like many things aren't for like the super rich and elite, even though you'll hear it sometimes being, put out there by sometimes like super rich and elite group of people like, oh, less travel. Meanwhile, traveling on all the jets, on all the super jets, fly jet setting, telling other people to. So, and it's like, rich, it's a thing, man. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's 15 minutes. So you do all your grocery shopping from the same local area. You don't get out of this little parameter. And it's kind of like think of it as like a small little communities. 15 minutes. It's got like a little, neo dystopian look to it, which is like, what I mean? A little bit of that Russian doomer music. The sun is setting. There's some there. There's some there. You could be like, that would make a nice picture. It's picturesque, and that's the way we like it. That's the way. So it's crazy, but it's at the same time CO2 levels, fam. So like, and I have ideas. I not personal, like I didn't come up with the ideas, but like we could legit like, how do you make sure people don't get out of a certain area, fam? Think about that. I've always been a proponent of moats. I'm always saying, make a moat, set it, forget it. And there happens to be gators and crocs just appearing more so frequently everywhere. I say we just like, tell them come down here. It's 15-minute city, moat city. What you know about these parameters, put them in the moat. Put them in the moat, and then like, so that if people like were to like get out of 15-minute city, fam, because you're not out here, like you're just like, oh, let me just step out of the 15-minute city and just overextend my footprint. Breathe a little bit heavy on this side of the city, man. Not on our watch. Moats, big walls, tall buildings with like, will there be like, will there be officers on top with like machine guns? So to make sure nobody leaves the 15 minutes, that's like the past. It'll be automated. You pass a little, you trigger something, boom, zap, there you go, boom, taken out, right there. 15-minute cities, reducing CO2 levels or something, I think. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that I've heard of it. It feels, and I've been hearing this and like other ideas of like more so, trying to like test a little bit of like, oh, what are we gonna do here? Let's just try and like, can we test a little bit of that facial facial recognition, a little bit of that biometrics, a little bit of that gathering everybody's data, and can we do a little bit of a digital ID test right here in this particular, whether it's at an airport, whether it's here or there, you know what I mean? Just like get it in there, man. I don't know. I just it's exciting times, but it's also like we gotta, everywhere in the world is similar in ways, different in ways, and we all gotta like, just like have fun and do our thing. And like the good thing about like if there was like man, if what are the pros of a biometric system or like a facial rec system that like incorporates all your data, all your personal information into a database and essentially makes it available to whoever is in charge of the database. The benefits are, I'll tell you what the benefits are. The benefits are that if it won't prevent anything, but if things were to like happen, just random things, they won't be able to like prevent anything. That's like that's in the future, like pre-crime and stuff, that's in the future. Close, but you know what I mean? It's like, so this would be like a good way of like not stopping anything from happening, but rather maybe making the job of like finding the whatever culprits a little bit easier. Maybe. It could also be used for, let's say you disagree with somebody, fam, and let's say you're in charge, because it could be anybody, or like you get whatevs, like you disagree with somebody and you just be like, yo, this, let me tap in and see like what this, person's profile is all about. Oh, do I have access to your bank account? Sweet, tight. Let me just freeze that bank account right there. Boom. Oh, locked in the 15-minute city with no bank account. Or at least it's frozen. Your assets are frozen, son. And not just because of Mother Nature, you feel me? Because that little tech. It's fun though. It's fun to think about things. It's fun to have fun. But how do you resist it? You karate chop it. You say, nah, not for me. It's like, because you might feel the peer pressure. It might be something, it might be incentivized to be like, try this digital ID and get a lifetime supply of head. Lifetime supply of head? That's a pretty good bargain almost for anything. Any, unlimited amount of head. It's hard to say no, you know what I mean? So it's like, or what if you're into food? Like lifetime supply of Haagen-Dazs, you know what I mean? And this show's not spot. I'm not just like throwing out Haagen-Dazs. It just came. So, but if you like this show to be brought to you by Haagen-Dazs, I'd make sure that it's brought to you by Haagen-Dazs for, you know what I mean? It's like, because I do eat sometimes the ice creams, and yeah, Haagen-Dazs, pretty dope. But it's not brought to you. I'm just like, it's not a partnership. Could it be a partnership? It could be a sweet, delicious partnership, of course. And I stand by it. I'll stand by it. I'll just watch that ice cream from like, because it's like, man, gotta, I'm not like, I don't particularly care about the number of calories and all that stuff, but like, it's not something I'd go for all the time, but it could easily be something that I go for all the time because it's ice cream. I could get behind ice cream. So Haagen-Dazs and I have no business affiliations as of yet. No one to take a hint. You know what I'm saying? Haagen-Dazs coming here with those fucking scoops of ice cream or something. Putting it out there. What were we even talking about? Fucking facial IDs, recognitions, and all that jazz. That's fun. So yeah, if you watch movies, if you read stuff, if you're like, man, how do I make sure that this like comes to fruition, some sort of like, cool neo-dystopian nightmare stitch. That's a nice way to go about it, boys and girls. What else is going on in and around the world in my personal life? I did finish watching The Last of Us, and this week, I'm not gonna lie, I'd watch an episode or two every now and again until, I believe it's only 6 episodes, which it was great, I'll say that. All the actors were all great. Everything was great about it. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you very much. It had been a while since I watched a series of anything, and I've just been kind of like, just hoping for something like, to come along, and it did. So thank you very much for that. And now I've got to, this year I didn't get a chance to rewatch My Sopranos, which is like I've watched it so many times and I love it, but it'd be nice to have some sort of like, y'all know what you're doing out there. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, it's good to see good things, good productions, and like good actors, and the men's and the women's and everybody else who's involved in these productions. There's so many little, that's the thing, there's so many things that go into things that I just, I don't know anything, man. I really like, that's the thing. I was just having a brief conversation with my homie on the phone the other night, last night, midday actually. It wasn't even night. But then you get into like, everybody, you can be good at certain things, you can be really good at certain things, but like that's if you're lucky. And then the rest of the things, you're like, I have no idea how anything works, really. And that's, you'll hear a friend, or like you'll hear a person like who's like, into, they're specialized, or like they're really great at their thing, and they start talking about it. It might not even be anything like, but then it just hits you that your understanding, your level of understanding in that realm or in that world is so that's the thing. When I see like a good overall production, that everything was like, great storytelling, great this, great that, actors, producers, directors, so many million things that I'm not even aware of. The lighting, the sound, the music, oh man, so many things. It's just like a beautiful group project, which is fantastic to watch and see, which it just reminds me of how, little I know about difference, which it's great, because that means the less I know, the more I have the chance to learn, man. It'd be nice to know like certain things, dude, that could like, impactful. Like, I know different things about like random things, but like I don't know like, if you tell me to like, here's a computer, take it apart, put it back together, I'll take it apart, fam. Back together, you might find some items at the end of the reconstruction to be extra, I'll tell you that much. What are these screws even doing here? What is this? What are all these cables? Why so many cables? Why so many? Oh, I'll solder stuff on, I'll solder stuff off. I don't even know if you need to, but like that's, so thank God for everybody doing their parts, man. Cause like that's the thing, I'll use certain things, like I'll grab a phone, I'll make a phone call, I'll go on like the computer, do very minimal things with it. But then there are people who like make things, like the actual like, I don't know, if the computer world production were to like stop, and I was reliant on making my own computer, like it's over, it's done. The whole thing's like, it's just done. It's a house of cards that'll just fucking collapse real fast, because I don't know how to build a computer. I don't know what goes inside a phone. Barely even know what goes outside it. Little phone cover, a little case of some sorts, but I don't even know how that's made. How did we even get here? I don't know, but I'm just saying it's Friday, boys and girls, and you gotta just like, gotta ask questions. You gotta just play around in the mud a little bit, get a little bit dirty, get down and tussle. You feel me? Pull on somebody's tonsil a little bit. Play a little bit tonsil tennis, and then grapple too. Get that, get it. Whatever it is you're doing out there, man. I hope you're doing well, ladies and gents. It's Friday. We're almost close to the end of the month too. Which I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to spring. Your boy is, I love all like seasons and everything, spring, summer, fall, winter, love them all. But winter, winter in Canada starts a little bit early and lingers on a little bit long. That's what it is. So I'm just like, every time we get close to the end of February, we're approaching March, my insides, my mind is just like, we're getting ready, fam. We're getting ready for spring, and it's about to be glorious. It's about to be just like it's like a new birth. I love spring because it's basically a new birthing cycle. Who doesn't love new birthing cycles? It's like watching us as a species uh, just warm around and wrap ourselves in a little cocoon shell of a cocoon, and then just be like, oh, we're cozying up in the old cocoon, and then spring comes around, and then just you're hatching, baby. You're coming out of the old cocoon phase, and you magically turn into a beautiful butterfly, and you're flapping your wings, and you're causing waves all around the world without even you knowing it. So thank you for being you out there, you glorious bastards out there. It's beautiful, gorgeous sons and daughters of bitches. Love y'all for whatever you're doing, whether you are, and I don't know what you're doing. You could be doing a ton of things. You could be doing research. You could be doing bake a cake. You could be doing bake a cake, sell a cake. Are you that bake a cake, sell a cake situation? Low-key underground bake a cake, sell a cake operation? What's inside the cake? Is it even real cake? Is it cake, or is it a operation, or is it a front for some sort of other consumer good that you'd find suitable to fit inside a cake and, move along somewhere along a border of sorts? Do people do that? Do people make bake cakes, and make bakes? Do people mix cake? Cake mix. You mix it up with the cake mix. Do people make cake and bake cake too, and put stuff inside it, and just like, I wish, dude. I hope one day I get a wrong shipment of a cake. I go to a local cake bakery, baking goods of sweets and goods and bakeries that mix the cake mix and make the cakes with the and then I'm like, I'll have that double chocolate, deep forest double chocolate. Give me all the chocolate, because I'm sick with the chocolate like that. Give me all the diabetes filled chocolate. I won't deal with it right now, but like down the line eventually. But that's something to think about later down the line. Not right now. Enjoy the moment is what I tell myself. Give me that black forest double chocolate, forest black chocolate. Goodness. And then put some extra chocolate on top of that, please. And she's like, a double extra chocolate forest, black forest double chocolate with a little bit of extra chocolate on top coming right up. She'll say that, wrapped up in a little box. My box of chocolate cake. And I'll get it, and I'm excited. Now it's in the evenings, sitting maybe with a glass of milk, a romantic glass of milk for serving of one. Thank you very much. A single serving, tall glass of milk to wash down all that chocolatey goodness. And I'm just like building up the day. I'm anticipating this moment when I get home and have a little bit of time to relax to myself. A nice slice of chocolate cake. I go in for the slice. Oh my God. I feel the impact of my fork hitting whatever mysterious object happens to be in the center of the cake. What is it even? My mind goes to 1,000 different places. It could be anything. A blow dryer, maybe. Is Santa coming to town early? Am I getting a new shaver? Perhaps. Or it could be some other thing. It could be a shipment. Maybe some sort of, I hope, dude, I get mixed up in some sort of like the triads are sending each other dope in cake, just to be like, yo, sample this cake. What that cake do. What them buns do. And now I've punctured it's not anything, it's mad. I've punctured the whole bag, large bag, because it's a large cake. You don't know my cakes. My cakes are big. Cakes for days, this guy. And now I've punctured this merchandise, essentially. I'm like, what is even here, as I'm wiping away the extra chocolates and still eating and like confused and just like, oh my God, this chocolate cake is so good. And just all over my face, chocolate all over the place. And I get to the bottom of it, and there's this like little brick filled with God knows what. Is it heroin? Is it cocaine? What's going on here, fam? Am I inside some sort of, you know what happens now? Questions have got to be asked. Further questions have got to be out, because that's what do you even do at that time? Well, I just want to go out I'm just enjoying my regular day, thinking I'm going to go have a regular relationship with a regular lady and eat regular chocolate cake in the evening. That's just me. Now, I've made a trip to the sperm level place that they check your sperm. I've got my sperm is fine. My lady, questionable, to say the least. Why are you not getting pregnant after all these years of me? And that's what you'll say. But you're now eating chocolate cake, drinking cold milk, the coldest that Canada has to offer. And boom, shipment of heroin or cocaine. And what do you do now? You're caught in the crossfire. You're now in the life. You didn't choose this life. This life chose you. Determinism. Just determinism. What is that even? Predestination. Final Destination is a movie. Determinism. Did you decide, or did somebody already decide for you? Sometimes coincidences happen. Wrong place, wrong cake. Haven't we always been always, haven't we been all there, wrong place, wrong cake, haven't we? Point is that now you're, you can't go just be like, hey everybody, I got a large brick of cocaine and heroin on me. You can't just say that. What are you gonna do? Report it to the cops? Please. So the cops can hold on to it. Love the cops, don't get me wrong, love the cops, and they should hold on to as many things as they can. I love it when a good cop holds on to something good. You see a good cop holding on to something good, you just, oh man, brings a tear to my eyes, brings a couple of tears to my eyes. Then I notice it's spring, allergy season once again is around the corner, but that has got nothing to do with the other thing. The point is, ladies and gents, that you can't go to the cops, because how would they know? How you're not gonna walk into a police station precinct and just be like, hey everybody, all the police officers that are like, just slinging guns in the police department, just like target shooting, practicing overhead, underhand, just bullet. It's, how police stations are, classic police stations. Guns blazing, guns firing. You can't just walk in there with chocolate all over your face, nice tea levels, questionable partner, and you have a, you have a brick. What do you do with that brick? Where'd you get that brick? You're like, I have no idea how this brick came into my life. I was just enjoying a piece of chocolate cake. But here now lays this brick before us. What do we do to do with this brick? How do we? Because at the same rate, although you're a good person out there, you have no intentions of doing anything other than the fact that we got a product. Let's not make any hasty decisions of just like flush it down the toilet, because that'd just be like a waste. Hello, you're responsible. Lower the CO2, somebody, please. So it's like, don't be wasteful is all I'm saying. Some dirty feet were stomping on that in the middle of the rainforest with no shoes. Dirty feet, no shoes, stomping in the middle of the rainforest, blood, sweat, tears. A little bit of rat poison, a little bit of baking soda, a little bit of bleach, all the essentials. And heart, lots of heart. A lot of people passed out probably, and like we've lost a good portion of people due to just like criminalization of stuff. But I'm just saying, if you're like decriminalize and make sure that they have shoes on their feet when they're stomping on whatever they're stomping on, you know what I mean? But it's like, some are like, no, that's a waste of a good pair of Nikes. Just like, let them just like, so you gotta, I get it. You're running an operation, you gotta cut costs. But sometimes it just, you're caught in the middle of something, yeah. And you're caught in the middle of something. What do? Because you legit, you can't take it to the popo. And that's a brick right there, and depending on where you're at, sells for varying. So now you're in the game now, fam, because you didn't even choose this life. Some people say this life didn't even choose me. I chose this. No, some people say that, but you're in it now, knee deep. And there's questions to be asked with everything going on in that life that I just described. What's the first step? Do you first go with 2 giant golden pinky rings, just to at least make yourself feel. Just do a little something for yourself. All right, 2 giant golden pinky rings on both hands, just to be like, at least let me, Do you unbutton a couple of buttons, let those little flaps just hang out the side a little bit, because all of a sudden it's like, not everything makes sense, but it feels good and it feels right. Do you go in an afternoon quickly and just swap your car for a convertible of any sort? Really, it doesn't even matter. Just an old convertible, preferably some sort of loose caddy. Just some sort of loose caddy with a big dumper. Just kind of like the biggest dumper you could think on a caddy. A dumper the size of Mother Nature's dump her when she queefs and just fucking right there. Oh, snow. Right there. The point is, get a cat, at least think it over. At least have an afternoon of your, to go sit on a bench, go sit on a park bench, put your brick, take a couple of photos with your brick. Because sometimes it's so easy for bricks to grow up and disperse and people forget. And it's good to have memories and photographs so you can be like, I was there for you when you were just a tiny little, teeny tiny little brick, and took you to the park, made sure that you got some exercise, made sure that I was there. Soccer practice there for the because there's like regular kids playing and there you are, that's my brick. Just your bricks just running in the middle of the field, just like heading it into the net, man. What is going on? This brick's on fire. Choir practice, swimming lessons, everything. You put in the time and effort. I'm just saying it's and sometimes that's the thing. Sometimes, God doesn't give you a door. But what is that? A window? Is that a chimney? Are those bricks on that house a little bit loose? Does it seem like an opening? Not really. What if you took a hammer to it? Loose after a couple of hits, you know what I mean? It's just like if it's not directly, I'm just saying, and I'm not even like, I'm just talking about how I like a good chocolate cake is what I'm saying. And it's all about Fridays and it's all about having fun. So whatever you're doing, boys and girls in life, there's decisions to be made, and then there's consequences after that follow, and then there's other decisions that have to be made after that too, followed by other consequences. So, and thus is the circle of action and classic reaction, boys and girls, ladies and gents. It's Friday, and once again, boys and girls, what a glorious day. Because it's Friday. So whatever you're doing out there, whether you're growing them bushes tall and proud, whether you have shaved it all the way down, whether maybe there's nothing there, maybe you lasered it off. Maybe you went half and half. Never seen that one before. Cool, half and half. Somebody should do a comb over with their pubes. Do you have comb over pubes? Like, like right down the center, half fucking bald eagle, other half it's like, you could braid it over. You could side swipe. You could part. You could essentially part. That's what I'm saying. So whatever you're doing out there, make sure you get your vitamins. Make sure to stay hydrated. But also at the same, a lot of people do talk about hydration. A lot of people happen to, big up hydration. They're always talking about stay, but what about the thirst though? What about stay? No, you don't want to over hydrate, because ever overwater a plant? It's just as horrible as not watering it. So it's about watering it the right amount of like whatever. I don't know what your level of like water intake is, but you want to make sure like you're on it. You just want to make sure you're in good shape and you're in good health, because the longer you live and the longer I live and the longer we kick it together, the better and faster and stronger things get together. And I believe in coming together, not like that, physically coming together, but not like that either, like joining together. Much better than coming together. Just being tight together, just being fucking, we're a bunch of tight mother lovers out there just doing it together. So that makes me feel good, and I hope you're feeling good on this beautiful, wonderful Friday. Boys and girls, thank you for all the love and support. Where can you find these videos? I'm glad you asked. You can find these videos every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. Where? I don't know. Do you like getting clipped? Did you ever like, you're like, oh, circumcision, not enough for me. I need more clips. Instagram is where you get clips, son. Snip, snip. But also, like, watch yourselves out there, because you don't want to be getting that, like, You don't want to get unwanted clip, dude. You don't want to be like, I'm in my 20s and I want to get clipped. What? Ouch. Hurts. So come get your clips here instead of having to resort to other things. Having said that, you like things in big portions. You're a type of fella or lady that just like to sit and just be like, you know what? For about 50 minutes to an hour, I just want to be entertained. I want somebody to virtually tickle my armpits, and then maybe one day we get to meet at a local or maybe domestic, or maybe you know, maybe all import somewhere at a local comedy, and we'll get to see each other maybe in person. So not only do we get to do this virtually, tickling of the said armpits. Well, what's up? We do that here. We sometimes do it in person too. And yes, that's where you can find the full-length videos on YouTube. Just go ahead and subscribe to help yourselves and your family members. Essentially, by subscribing on YouTube, your dog, who you're hoping will impregnate your other dog, will bless you and your family with a whole fucking load of dogs, a whole ton of dogs. But just by subscribing, fucking did it together. A lot of dogs. Because you were always like, oh, 1 or 2 dogs, be nice. A whole litter of dogs, 25 dogs, dude. You're welcome. And then you're like, how do I give back? To make sure, how do you give back? But simply watching these beautiful videos and sharing it with your loved ones and family members is good enough for your boy. But you're like, no, I want to give back more. You twisted my nipples, you're tickling my nutsack, you pushed me into a corner, I'm in a corner, okay? And then you're like, you're still pushing? Fine. You're bending my knee, you're twisting my kneecap, you're sucking on my toes, you're like, tell me what else I can do to help support this. There's patreon.com/RobSadri if you're so adamant, and okay, if you insist, and I will leave it up to you, regardless. Wherever you like to watch these videos, do it for yourself, do it for your lover's pleasure. Do it if you want to save your parents from getting dementia, unless you don't care about your parents. All right, I'll be back here again on Monday, boys and girls. Have a lot of fun. It's the weekend. Go get it out there, or just like do you. Love y'all. I'll see you soon. Peace out.